Have you ever wondered how one company came to own your entire childhood? Disney didn't just grow, it strategically absorbed the entertainment industry. And now, some believe it controls far too much. This is the story of how Disney conquered Hollywood, piece by piece. It's hard to imagine now, but Disney began as a tiny animation studio, just struggling to survive. In the early days, Walt Disney and his brother Roy were innovators, not titans. They faced bankruptcy, betrayals, and constant financial pressure. Then, one character changed everything. A little mouse named Mickey. Steamboat Willie wasn't just a cartoon. It was a technological marvel, one of the first to synchronize sound with animation. This spirit of innovation fueled their early success. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was a massive gamble, the first feature-length animated film. Everyone thought it would fail. Instead, it became a blockbuster. In these formative years, Disney's power wasn't in its size, but in its creativity. They were building a world, not buying one. They were the underdog, the creative force pushing the boundaries of what was possible in animation and storytelling. For decades, this was the Disney way. They created their own stories, their own characters, their own magic. From Pinocchio to The Lion King, Disney's brand was built on original, in-house productions. They were a factory of dreams, meticulously crafting each film from the ground up. But somewhere along the line, the strategy shifted. The company realized that while creating new worlds was powerful, owning existing ones could be even more profitable. Instead of just being a creator, Disney decided to become a collector. This wasn't a sudden change, but a gradual evolution in thinking, a pivot from pure artistry to strategic acquisition. The goal was no longer just to make the next great movie, but to own the next great franchise, no matter who created it. This shift kicked off an acquisition era that would reshape the entire entertainment landscape. The first major move was Pixar in 2006. This wasn't just buying a competitor. It was acquiring the very soul of modern computer animation, the studio that had redefined the genre Disney itself had pioneered. Pixar brought with it a roster of beloved characters and a consistent track record of critical and commercial hits. Then came Marvel in 2009. At the time, it seemed like an odd pairing, the House of Mouse and the House of Superheroes. But Disney saw the untapped potential of a connected cinematic universe. They didn't just buy a few characters. They bought a universe of thousands, an endless well of stories. Next was Lucasfilm in 2012. With this, Disney secured one of the most iconic franchises in history, Star Wars. They now own Jedi, Sith, and a galaxy far, far away. And finally, the colossal acquisition of 20th Century Fox in 2019. This brought in massive properties like Avatar, The Simpsons, and the X-Men. Each purchase wasn't random. It was a calculated move to consolidate power, control key intellectual property, and absorb entire fan bases. With every deal, Disney's kingdom expanded, and its control over what we watch tightened. So, why this relentless hunt for established properties? Because franchises are the most valuable asset in modern entertainment. A standalone movie is a gamble. Franchise is an annuity. When you own a beloved franchise, you don't have to convince people to show up. They already want to. Fans return automatically for the next chapter. Owning franchises like the Marvel Cinematic Universe or Star Wars means predictable, recurring revenue streams. It creates loyal audiences who are invested in the long-term story, and it grants immense market influence. You can plan a decade of films, knowing you have a built-in audience. Disney understood this better than anyone. They weren't just buying stories. They were buying attention. They were securing a permanent, unshakable place in the cultural conversation, ensuring that their properties would dominate theaters and discussions for years to come. Then, just as Disney had consolidated its control over traditional media, a new disruption arrived: streaming. Netflix was changing how we consume content, and the old models were starting to crumble. But Disney didn't panic. It adapted. They launched their own streaming service, Disney+. And here's where their acquisition strategy paid off in a massive way. While competitors like Netflix had to spend billions of dollars licensing content or creating it from scratch, Disney opened its own vault. On day one, Disney Plus had Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, and decades of classic Disney and Fox content. It was one of the most impressive content libraries ever assembled, all under one roof. They didn't need to compete for content in the streaming wars. They owned the arsenal. This gave them an incredible, almost unfair, advantage right from the start. They could leverage their beloved franchises to draw in subscribers and immediately establish themselves as a major player in the streaming world. Today, the scale of Disney's influence is staggering. It's not just about movies. They have a hand in almost every aspect of the entertainment ecosystem. They own major film distribution networks, ensuring their movies get prime placement in theaters worldwide. Their streaming platform, Disney Plus, is a global giant. Their merchandising division turns characters into billions of dollars in toys, clothes, and other products. Their theme parks are iconic destinations, physical extensions of their cinematic worlds. And their licensing power means their characters appear on everything from lunchboxes to video games. Few companies in history have ever held this much cultural and economic power simultaneously. They can shape what stories get told, which actors become stars, and what trends dominate pop culture. This level of vertical integration, from creation to distribution to monetization, gives them unparalleled control over the market. This brings us to the central debate surrounding Disney's dominance. On one hand, supporters argue that Disney earned its power through brilliant business strategy and a deep understanding of what audiences want. They took risks, made smart investments, and successfully navigated the changing media landscape. They didn't break the rules. They just played the game better than anyone else. From this perspective, Disney is a model of corporate success. On the other hand, critics argue that Disney has built a system that stifles competition and limits creative diversity. By acquiring so many major studios, they've reduced the number of buyers for new ideas and made it harder for independent creators to break through. When one company owns so much, does it create a monoculture where only certain types of stories get told? Both of these viewpoints can be true at the same time. Disney's journey from a small animation studio to a global media empire is a masterclass in strategy and ambition. They didn't just become powerful by accident. They became powerful by design. They understood that in the business of entertainment, content is king, but the franchise is the kingdom. And as we've seen time and time again, in business, power once gained is rarely surrendered. Thanks for watching. If you found this look into Disney's strategy interesting, don't you forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the companies that shape our world. See you next time.